Oh my, hail. We see this all the time throughout the Beehive State. Thunderstorms in our area can produce hail at times. So we look at how that happens and what classifies hail as severe. With a strong thunderstorm, you can get a significant updraft and downdraft. That updraft carries raindrops into the upper atmosphere where it's colder. Those raindrops freeze into hailstones. Air within the cloud bumps hailstones around. There's also supercooled water in the cloud. Supercooling happens when you lower the temperature of a liquid below freezing, but it doesn't become a solid. When hail collides with supercooled water droplets, the hailstones grow. When hail gets heavy enough, it can't stay in the cloud, so it falls to the ground, and we often see a lot of it fall at once. The size of a hailstone matters. It often indicates the intensity or size of a storm. We see a lot of hail in Utah, often from the size of a pea to the size of a nickel. But when we see strong storms, we see hail hit the severe category. That's the size of a quarter all the way up to a softball. When it comes to Utah's thunderstorms, they need to reach this criteria to be classified as severe, and that includes hail that's an inch thick in diameter. We see large hail often cause property damage in Tornado Alley, and here in Utah, hail damage is most likely to occur in those warmer months, especially during monsoon season. The unofficial state record for hail comes out of Colville at 3.5 inches in diameter. That's between a baseball and a softball for size. Really big hail. We see it more so in the Midwest, but my friend Shar knows Utah sees its fair share.
Hi. I'm Shar Dewey. I'm a meteorologist with the National Weather Service in Salt Lake City.
Shar knows Utahns will typically see pea-sized hail with a thunderstorm in the state.
Thunderstorms are a little bit different formation-wise, but we still get hailstones. We'll get anywhere from pea-sized hail, like the little green peas. We can get up to inch hail, about the size of a quarter. We can get as big as a golf ball. Those are a little bit more rare, but seeing the small hail in most of our stronger thunderstorms is really pretty typical.
Our hail greatly differs from the large hailstones that often make the news in the middle of the United States.
In the Midwest, there's a lot more land area that's flat. I mean, they have some terrain, but it's a lot more flat compared to here in the West. So there's a lot more duration and area, less friction for the thunderstorms and air to run into, and so it has more time for the thunderstorms to billow up and move across the land. There's a lot more moisture. They get a lot better dry lines where we get the dry air next to the warm air next to the cool air. Here in the West, we have a lot more terrain, which is probably the biggest influencer to break down our thunderstorms.
The mountains will frequently break down storms or enhance them. We just don't have enough storm duration for the hail to develop. And when you deal with hail in Utah, it tells you something about that thunderstorm overhead.
In order to get hail in a thunderstorm, we have enough moisture, we have enough air that's being pulled up in the thunderstorm, and it's cold enough so that the water droplets that would normally be rain are being pulled up and frozen. So we have these little frozen ice balls.
But hail damage does occur in Utah. We've seen it happen along the Fruit Highway in Perry and over farmland.
We start to see a lot more damage reports usually when hail gets about the size of a nickel, so it's a nickel coin, even quarters. That's when we start to see damage. The little pea-sized hail or like Dippin' Dots, little grapply pellets, we don't see a whole lot of damage other than to plants from that. But the bigger damage, like to cars and stuff, is generally when we start to see nickel size and then more so that 1 inch quarter size.
Sometimes people will get hail confused with grapple. Grapple is in the hail family, but it's an earlier stage of formation. Sometimes grapple is referred to as soft hail pellets.
So hail indicates that the water droplet has frozen and it's ice basically, and it's gotten heavy enough and it's been in the thunderstorm long enough to fall to the ground. Grapple is where it's a little bit more melted and it's not completely solid, so it's a little bit more of squishy hail, if you will. It's not totally frozen, it's more melted, and it's on its way to becoming rain, basically melted. So it's grapples that in between hail and rain stage where a lot of times you see the real small, I call it Dippin' Dots, like the Dippin' Dot ice cream. It's just the small, almost melted hailstone.
Recently, a hailstone from Argentina made headlines. It may have broken a world record. Notice that shape, though. It's not round.
I know once hailstones get so large, they get really weird shaped. And that's generally because it's the hailstones being pulled up so quickly and it's freezing and starting to melt. So it's these weird shapes.
As I mentioned earlier, hail's a major piece of criteria when it comes to issuing severe thunderstorm warnings. So the next time you see hail associated with a Utah storm, snap a picture of it in your hand next to a coin. The National Weather Service and ABC4 would love to see it and share it.
What really helps us is if we get those reports and get those people that measure the hail, and if they can measure it comparative to like a coin, like a quarter, if you can measure it compared to a normal, like a ping pong ball, a golf ball, a baseball. Pictures next to a ruler. A ruler is always really good, helpful measurement. That way you actually know how big it is. Those help us, those measurements help us get an idea for how big it is and how dangerous the thunderstorm is. Pea-sized hail, that's very typical, very normal. Any report is always very helpful for us to know what's going on.